In the last video, I tracked the alignment from the Palk Strait, located between Sri Lanka and India, to Vellore in the northeastern part of the Indian state of Tamil Nadu, and ended up at Hyderabad, the capital and largest city of Telengana State on the Deccan Plateau. My name is Michelle Gibson. Next on the alignment, we come to the Ellora Caves, located in the Aurangabad District of Maharastra, India. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, it is one of the largest rock-cut monastery temple cave complexes in the world, featuring Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain monuments and artwork, and we are told dating to the time period of 600 to 1000 AD. Of the 100 or so caves at the site, excavated from the basalt cliffs in the Charanandri Hills, 34 are open to the public. The Kailasa is the largest of the rock-cut temples at the Ellora Caves. Carved from a rock cliff face, it is considered one of the most remarkable cave temples in the world because of its size, architecture, and sculptural treatments. Let me be clear, it is the world's largest monolithic structure, meaning carved out from the rock. The Ajanta Caves are also in the Aurangabad District of Maharastra State. Almost 30 rock-cut Buddhist cave monuments, said to date from the 2nd century BC to about 480 AD, and believed to be among the finest surviving examples of ancient Indian art and masterpieces of Buddhist religious art. The Ajanta Caves were said to have been rediscovered in 1819 by a British officer named John Smith. While hunting tigers, he was said to have discovered the door to cave number 10 when a local shepherd guided him to the location and the door. John Smith went to a nearby village to get help gaining entrance to the temple, after which time he vandalized the wall by scratching his name and the date over a painting on the wall. It is interesting to note that the Grand Canyon in Arizona has Hindu names for some of its rock features, like the 3 Hindu gods at the Grand Canyon, as well as ones with Egyptian names, which are part of the formation of a star map of the constellation Orion. And there are stories from early explorers of the Grand Canyon, like the one of G.E. Kincaid, who claimed to have found an entrance to a mysterious underground citadel, which he said led to the finding of a massive chamber from which scores of passages radiated, and finding, among many other similar things, an idol sitting cross-legged with a lotus flower in each hand. An expedition to a rock-cut vault in the Grand Canyon in 1909 by Professor S.A. Jordan of the Smithsonian received front-page coverage in the Phoenix Gazette, about which the Smithsonian was said to have claimed not to have knowledge of the discovery. The Grand Canyon of India is in a place called Gandikota in the Andhra Pradesh state along the Pennar River, pictured on the bottom, compared with the Colorado and the Grand Canyon on the top. Gandikota, the center of power for various dynasties, including the Golconda Sultanate mentioned in the last video, also has a massive fort at Gandikota, built of granite with a 20-foot or 6-meter high entry gate in a fort wall running around a 5-mile or 8-kilometer perimeter, with 101 bastions, each about 40 feet or 12 meters high. The Belem Caves, approximately 2 hours from Gandikota in Andhra Pradesh, are the largest and longest cave system open to the public on the Indian subcontinent. The Bezeklik Thousand Buddha Caves are found in Turpan in the Uyghur Autonomous Province of China, a complex of 77 rock-cut cave grottos said to date from between the 5th and 14th centuries, that are located in what is called the Flaming Gorge on the left, compared to the appearance of Arizona's Grand Canyon on the right. What in the world is going on here? I believe there is something very important that we have not been told about the universality of the spiritual beliefs, practices, and building technology of the ancient worldwide advanced civilization. Examples of places in other countries with massive architecture cut directly out of rock include the 11 monolithic churches of Lalibela in Ethiopia. Here are 3 of them. The roof of the Mausoleum of Theodoric outside of Ravenna in Italy is described as a single 230-ton or 209 metric ton type of limestone, which for some reason no longer has its beautiful double stone staircase and other features it used to have that look like they have been filled in. The ancient site of Petra in Jordan. And the Lycian rock-cut Dalyan temples in the province of Antalya of southern Turkey. Just a short distance from the Ellora Cave Temple complex in Kuldabad is the tomb of Aurangzeb, considered the last of the strong Mughal emperors and who died in 1707. Aurangzeb means ornament of the throne in Persian, a Persian name for the ruler of the Mughal Empire of the Indian subcontinent. His burial site is located on the complex of the Dargah, or shrine of Sheikh Zainuddin, a Sufi saint of the Deccan, also known as Deccan, of India, and the spiritual and religious teacher of Aurangzeb. As a matter of fact, Kuldabad is popular as the Valley of the Saints because several Sufi saints resided there in the 14th century. Who were the Sufis? They were mystics and practitioners of the inward dimension of Islam. Sufism emphasizes personal experience with the divine and concentrating one's energy on spiritual development rather than focusing on the teachings of human religious scholars. For example, followers of the Persian Sufi mystic Rumi from the Greater Khorasan established the Mevlevi order in Konya, Turkey, otherwise known as whirling dervishes, who practice the spinning dance used to connect with the divine. Okay, this information about the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb having a Persian name and being a Sufi Muslim, and Rumi being a Persian from the Greater Khorasan, is really nudging at my consciousness to bring in another stream of information. Some of what I'm about to share is based on things I've learned in tracking this alignment, and some of it is based on things I remember learning at some point in my life. I'm going to surf the synchronicities here because that is all I'm able to do. The validity of this information is gone from the official historical narrative about whether or not I am correct going in this direction. I can't definitively prove what I'm going to say, but I can bring forward something that wants to come out in a meaningful way. Earlier in this series, I tracked this alignment through Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and Turkey. I found the alignment running through a region historically called the Greater Khorasan, forming the northeast province of what is called Iran today, Persia historically, and comprising the present territories of northeastern Iran, parts of Afghanistan, and much of Central Asia. Khorasan is said to mean something along the lines of land of the sun, or where the sun arrives from in Persian. Then when I arrived in Turkey, known historically as Anatolia, I found out that Anatolia also means something along the lines of rising sun in ancient Greek. Also, the land of the rising sun is a popular nickname for the country of Japan. So what this tells me is that the whole concept of the sun always rising on the empires of the ancient advanced civilization was embedded in language and collective awareness. In similar fashion, we learned that the sun never set on the British Empire. We are told that between the 18th and 20th centuries, Britain acquired more and more territories, making it the largest empire in history. When I saw the Persian name of the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, I vaguely recollected something about the Aryans. It rang the bell of a distant memory. In looking up definitions of Aryan, here's what I am finding. The Aryans brought Hindu religious thought to India. The term was used by the Indo-Aryan people of the Vedic period in ancient India as a religious label for themselves. The Iranian people used the term as an ethnic label for themselves in the Avesta scriptures, the religious text of Zoroastrianism, and the word Aryan forms the source of the country name Iran. The definition of an Aryan, described by the Nazi Germans as a member of the master race, was not Jewish and had Nordic features. What exactly was the Nazi obsession with creating a master race all about? Was this actually a desire to recreate the original master race? Giant human beings who, among many other things, were capable of carving massive infrastructure right out of rock, like it was no big deal? When I was tracking this alignment through the modern country of Turkey in the ancient region of Lake Van, I learned about the kingdom of Urartu, which was historically part of Armenia. Which brings me to the question, who were the people of Ar? Mount Ararat, the legendary landing place of Noah's Ark, was located in the historical Armenia, though now is within the boundaries of modern Turkey. The Sumerians called Ararat Arata, and they tell of this land of their ancestors in the Armenian highlands, in their epic poem Gilgamesh, which is depicted on the top left. Compare the boat pictured here with the Sumerian Gilgamesh with an ancient Egyptian boat on the top right, a boat on Lake Chad in Africa on the bottom left, and a boat on Lake Titicaca in Peru on the bottom right. As a matter of fact, Arata is said to be now recognized as the world's most ancient known civilization, dating back to 22,000 BC, developing in the steppes north of the Black Sea in modern Ukraine, and believed to spread out from there to India, Mesopotamia, Egypt, western China, and across Europe. This is the Vorontsov Palace in Alupka on the Black Sea's Crimean Peninsula, which was historically part of the Ukraine on the left, in comparison with the Jama Masjid Mosque in Delhi, India, on the right. I found out that ancient India was known as Bharatavarsha at one time. Or does the term Bharatavarsha refer to the entire Earth? Let's take a look at Bavaria, a state in southern Germany, at the Linderhof Castle, the smallest of three castles said to have been built by Mad King Ludwig II, constructed between 1863 and 1886. This is the peacock throne found inside the Linderhof Palace. And Moorish architecture is found in this amazing room inside the main Linderhof Palace. And this building located on the grounds of the Linderhof Palace complex. The peacock throne of the Mughal emperor was a famous jeweled throne, located in the Hall of Private Audiences. At the Red Fort in Delhi, India, the main residence of the Mughal emperors. And now the Mughal peacock throne is on display at the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, Turkey, not in India. Where else can I find the R sound? Tartary, or Tartaria, a historical region in northern and central Asia. The Barbary Coast, or Barbaria, the name given to a vast region stretching from the Nile River Delta across northern Africa to the Canary Islands. Gandhara, an ancient Buddhist kingdom primarily in what is now Pakistan and part of the Kushan Empire. Arabia. Arizona in the United States, with its flag on the top compared with the flag of Tibet on the bottom, both looking very much like sun rays in the background. And Kumari Kandam, a lost continent in the Indian Ocean that had an ancient Tamil civilization, to name just a few. Who were the people of Ar? Originally, humanity as a collective was taught the knowledge of who we really are as spiritual beings and living holograms of the universe, how to reconnect with higher self by raising kundalini energy from the base of the spine up to the third eye and crown chakras, and lived at a much, much higher level of consciousness and full potential in human form. Before the Earth's people and grid system was deliberately hijacked by dark beings with a negative agenda, who definitely don't want us to wake up to our true history and who we really are. Here's the thing. By universal law, we have to give our consent for what they have done here, and the only way they can accomplish this consent is by outright lies, deception, and duplicity, because if people knew the true agenda of these controllers, the vast majority of humanity would never, ever, ever accept anything that has taken place here. They wanted to rule over it all, take all the wealth for themselves, and control the destiny of humanity for their own benefit, not ours. And more people are waking up to this every day. We do not consent, and we never consented. Back to India. The next place I want to take a look at on the alignment is Indore, the largest and most populated city in the Indian state of Madhya Pradesh. We are told Indore was founded in the 16th century as a trading hub between Delhi and the Deccan region of India. It was ruled as a princely state by the Holkar dynasty until they acceded to the Union of India in 1947. The first Holkar of the dynasty was Malhar Rao Holkar, who ruled from 1731 to 1766. This is the Chhatri, the definition of which is funerary monument for him, that was said to have been built by his daughter-in-law, Ahilyabai Holkar, who became queen of the Holkar dynasty after the death of her husband, Malhar Rao Holkar's son, Kandarao Holkar. Now compare the similarities between Malhar Rao Holkar's Chhatri on the left with the building we saw previously on the grounds of the Linderhof Palace in Bavaria, Germany, on the right. The Rajwada Palace in Indore was a royal residence of the Holkars. As was the Lal Bagh Palace on the left, which brought to mind the Scheisler Palais in the city of Augsburg, also in Bavaria, Germany, on the right, which I remember visiting when I was stationed there in the army in the mid-1980s. The Mahatma Gandhi Town Hall in Indore was said to have been built in 1904, named King Edward Hall, and renamed to honor Gandhi in 1948. The Kanch Mandir in Indore is a Jain temple said to have been built starting in 1903. Meaning temple of glass, the inside is entirely covered by glass panels and mosaics, including the floor, columns, walls, and ceilings. One side note before ending this video. The capital of the Indian state of Madhya Pradesh is Bhopal, which is 107 miles or 172 kilometers from Indore. Bhopal was the location of the world's worst industrial disaster in December of 1984, when the Union Carbide pesticide plant there leaked highly toxic methyl isocyanate gas, which made its way into the surrounding areas. The official death toll at the time was 2,259, and this major gas leak caused over 500,000 injuries, with ongoing effects over time. One last point of information about Bhopal. About 10 years ago, archaeologists found the remains of 21 temples near Bhopal, in the village of Ashapuri, believed to date back 1,300 years. These people were remarkably prolific builders. In the next video, I am picking up the alignment in Jodhpur, India. It will be the last video of this particular series on sacred geometry, ley lines, and places in alignment.